like to welcome everyone to the Wednesday, May 22nd meeting of the Pine Bluffs Town Council. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the agenda.
I move to amend the agenda to remove item 3 under new business mutual aid agreement.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to remove item number 3 under new business mutual aid agreement. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Back to the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business. The first item under new business is appointment and oath of office for the new town clerk. Person.
Where do you want to go?
This is great.
This is good? Okay.
So I'm going to read.
Okay. Can I
Did you
repeat after
memorize
you?
it?
I don't have it memorized.
All right. So raise your right hand. I, Leanne Person,
I, Leanne Person,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my appointment
related to my appointment
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Great. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Welcome
having me.
aboard.
Thanks.
Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Me too.
We have to have an official confirmation of the appointment.
Yeah, I think we do. I move
You're already sworn in. Sorry, that was all bad.
to approve the appointment of Leanne Person as the town clerk. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve Leanne Person as the town clerk. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Sorry about that. We're gonna be in some constitutional crisis here. But item number 2 under new business, ordinance 2024-03 on the second reading, the annual appropriation ordinance for the town of Pine Bluffs, Wyoming for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-03 on the second reading.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2024-03 on the second reading. Any discussion? I would just like to briefly touch on, Kim, do you have anything to add to this before?
I do not have anything to add to it at this time. The budget is presented balances for all funds.
Okay. One of the discussions we had in the prior meeting and in the budget workshop was about the archaeology site. And just currently our budget reflects that, which way?
The budget reflects a reduction in the amount of wages available for seasonal employees in the recreation department, and that does include all the lifeguards and pool manager. We believe that we could potentially open the archaeology site, but at reduced hours this year. My concern is that, you know, as it stands, the recreation budget is extremely tight, and each year we seem to have unforeseen circumstances. So I think that the reduction in hours should be definitely considered so that we leave a little bit of a buffer in that department for some of those unforeseen situations. They're unavoidable things, just, you know, maintenance situations that happen at two of our most expensive facilities that we have in town, so.
Well, I guess I'll just jump right in there with my thoughts. I'm not opposed to discussion about either way you want to do it, but at the bare minimum, I think we need to figure out what we're doing, what the long-term plan up there is in terms of for budgetary purposes, and whether, you know, there's a lot of ways you could look at this. But I talked to Dennis, and he's obviously not here to represent himself, but I think he feels similar to how I feel, and I question how much benefit it provides to our citizens given the cost long term. And while I appreciate the efforts over the years of people who have kept that going, I think it's I don't think we should just blindly continue down this path without giving it some serious consideration either now or before next year's budget cycle, about really dig into how we might like to see that go in the future, or whether there's another organization that would like to perhaps take that over, or what it looks like. But anyway, I guess that's how I feel about it.
I know we discussed at least the rough budget numbers during the budget planning session, what it costs to maintain that, the archaeological site. Do you have that information available, Kim, or is that
Yes,
put on the
it's,
spot?
it was a little bit over $10,000 per season.
That's without any side, that's billable, right? Whether it's wages or repairs or
Correct.
something,
Yes.
that's not us. That's not the time invested from full-time town employees that may spend
Correct.
time there.
Yes, yeah,
fixing
that doesn't
or
include, right,
organizing or preparing for the season or shutting it down.
correct.
Okay.
And what are the season dates again?
Usually Memorial Day through Labor Day.
And are they prepared somebody's prepared to staff it this weekend if it's a go?
I don't believe they are prepared to staff it this weekend.
What would be the reduced hours?
You have to excuse me on this, but I think we currently have it open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, Saturday, 10 to 2, and Sunday, 12 to 4. You know, if My personal recommendation would be to maybe keep it only open on the days when there are probably more travelers. Maybe the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, possibly into a Monday or a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We don't really have any records of our most visited days because realistically, we don't have a ton of visitors to that location. But if we reduce the number of days and then we could also be open by appointment because we have had some students from different different teachers have called to see if they want to take a classroom of children over there to take a peek at it. So we could definitely be open by appointment.
Well, I would also say that you obviously have a budgetary number, and to the extent that the recreation department figures out the schedule that fits that budgetary requirement or less,
Yes.
then that's where we need to be. That would be what I think, is leave it, like, I don't wanna dig into what days they're open or.
Sure.
Or how long. I think that's kind of.
I would agree. I think adjusting those hours to provide a more limited offering would be good to test the waters and see what the level of interest is before we just make any drastic decisions.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and after this season, we can possibly schedule some meetings with the museum board and see if they would be interested in taking that over as part of the museum services.
Yeah, I think having a long-term plan is going to be pretty important, especially as I don't think in a year we come back to the table on budget season and say, man, we just have so much more money than we did last year. Like, unfortunately, I just don't think that's where we're at. So having a plan to move forward is probably what we really need to focus on.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on that issue? How about the rest of the budget?
My only other thing would be, if I can get back there, is for like employee raises. I think it's great that we have the ability to offer those, but curious if we can't spend some time digging in on like better job descriptions.
Yes, so the job descriptions are all, I have them all created.
Okay.
I probably haven't shared them all with this board because they were done a few years ago. But I am happy to share them all with you, and as you have time to read through them, and then we can definitely look at updating them and streamlining them to the positions as they exist today.
Yeah, I just think that they're probably evolving and
Oh,
changing,
absolutely,
and so,
yes.
as we offer some raises, that's something we should evaluate too. It's just those jobs and the roles that everyone has.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything else?
That's all for me.
I will just mention that our third reading will be delayed by 2 days, but however, if you have any other thoughts about this budget, let's get them to Kim over the next week or two rather than the day of.
Absolutely, yes.
So, okay. All right, well, hearing no other discussion, it's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2024-03 on the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Skipping item 3, item number 4 is award recommendation, construction contract for the Prairie View development. If I can get it to come up. So I assume everyone had an opportunity to read the HDR recommendation.
Yes.
No, because I couldn't get in, but I'm doing it now.
Okay.
I guess I did have a question or two regarding the items that were proposed to be removed from the bid. I'm trying to understand how critical those items are.
Sure, absolutely. So, we believe that, well, let's start with the biggest item, bid item number 43, which is the electric distribution system. We're removing that from the contract because the subcontractor couldn't provide a thorough breakdown of the services that they would be providing for that cost. The engineer's estimate for that, those system improvements was significantly lower than the bid price for that. We're going to remove it from this contract, and the town of Pine Bluffs will send out another request for bid for just that, and it will be like a separate sub-project of this major project. So it will be managed by the town separately, similar to how we will be handling the natural gas with Black Hills. Kind of pairs with that electric distribution system improvements is all the dry trenching. So it can either be included as part of that electric distribution project, or our team in Public Works can handle the dry trenching. Installing the 1-inch water services meters and meter pits, items 33 and 34. We don't see that as necessary at this time until the properties are actually starting to be developed. Each individual property owner will determine if they want the 1-inch or 5/8 or whatever, 3/4 inch rather, as opposed to 5/8. And currently, when a property owner requests water service, we handle that in-house. And so I saw the, cost savings of $130,000 for that line item as something that the town would handle, and we would handle it on a customer by customer basis. And then the item number 47, the 16-inch water line steel casing pipe, that wasn't a complete removal. We are substituting the steel casing pipe with, Mayor, if you could help me with the term, that flow fill.
Flowable fill.
Yep.
Like concrete, basically.
Yes.
To protect the pipes from, if there's any leakage or
Right.
cross-contamination.
Yeah.
So that was a change as for value engineering on that one. So we don't feel that there's any significant impact overall. In the long run, the electric and the dry trenching are going to be added back into the overall project cost, just not into this contractor's pricing.
Right. If we find that that electrical distribution system improvement still runs higher than what was estimated, do we have a fallback position, or how would we?
At that point, we would need to look for more funding.
Okay. Is there options do we have a mechanism to do that?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. In fact, we plan to seek that funding anyway to assist with things like the natural gas and some other items.
It seems like a lot of those costs have gone up exponentially, as has everything else in the last few years, and I assumed that those costs would be returning to somewhat normal prices, levels, but that doesn't seem to be the case, and I'm thinking we're just at a new norm now.
Sure.
I also think there could have been some misunderstanding on their part about which components they were providing, although I think we had some issue with the electrical contractor that frankly gave us an arbitrary discount, which makes me, I thought made us all nervous about whether they actually had put a very hard pencil to their number.
Yes. When we release the bid package for the electric system, it will be very much more detailed. And the town has already purchased and received the majority of all of the large ticket, long lead time items, such as the transformers and all the cable. So I think that we are optimistic that it will come in less than the 1.4 million.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. If approved tonight, this is, they have to accept our stipulations still, right?
Correct. And
Like
there
we'll
have
go to-
been meetings with the contractor and during the negotiations, and they are agreeable. They understand where we're coming from with the electric portion of that. Mayor?
Yes.
Do we have a motion on this yet?
No.
Okay.
We started talking
Okay,
about it.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't putting my nose in where it doesn't belong here. Couple of questions. We have 3 bidders, right?
Correct.
Are they all Wyoming qualified?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so that's even Steven.
Yes.
And do we know if any of these are also bidding as subcontractors to the other bidders?
Well, I know,
We
know
believe that one
was
of them may
providing-
be, yes.
providing aggregate to one of the other
Okay.
contractors.
Okay.
But probably not the.
I mean, that's okay, you can do that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just curious to know if that was the case.
I believe it was on this, the one qualified bidder had bid aggregate from one of the other bidders.
Yeah, okay.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm
I'm
almost 100%
almost sure, yeah.
that was the
The-
case.
The mathematical error, was it high, low, or what's going on with that?
I'm not sure why they didn't just correct that, but I redid the numbers myself.
Yes.
Still was, roughly $500,000 to $600,000 more than the I guess the recommended bidder. They also failed to, and we talked about the shortcomings of the 3 bidders, right, in here.
Yes.
Which it's neither here nor there. Some of that I just flatly don't agree with. If you're not going to use a portion of the bid, what's it matter if they bid or not? That being said, it doesn't substantially change it doesn't change where they would be on the pricing scale from high to low.
Make a motion to accept the bid from, do I need to do like bidder number, or just, can I just say?
I think you can just say,
I move to accept the bid from Prospect Construction for the North Wells Development Phase 1.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to accept the bid from Prospect Construction, Inc. for the North Wells Development Phase 1. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is the net metering policy discussion. So I guess I could go to where we were at. We approved a distributed energy resource policy. We didn't really approve the policy, but we applied it to a applicant based on the fact that that was the policy we were going to live by in our community through WMPA. Although WMPA had 10, 11 months of, probably 8 months of calling for public input, scheduling meetings, there was really no public input to the DER policy as presented. As it turns out, when it was implemented, there was a lot of people with a lot of thoughts about the DER policy. And therefore, WMPA has decided to take a step back. I think they thought for our small towns, they were providing a service of kind of uniformly applying a rule that we could all use, and frankly, I just don't think some towns wanted that, and perhaps, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to make a judgment about whether it was right or wrong, but that's where we're at. Therefore, I think we need to, or I don't think we need to, we need to have a, if we're not going to use that DER policy, we should apply some net metering policy as we've, in the past, I think it's been pretty case by case. The policy that Kim has put in the packet, I think is, you know, we're not here to approve it tonight. I just would like to get it approved soon, or some version of this. So if there's any discussion, and effectively what we're doing is the DER policy was required to meter electricity both ways and pay retail on 100% of the power used for your house, and they would pay, WMPA would pay them for 100% of the electricity or whatever, from whatever source generated within their home or property. That's a real sticking point for a lot of people, because you weren't effectively netting anything out. You were retail going in, avoided cost coming out. So I think this is probably more palatable to people, that they're getting to net out what they're doing on their own property. It's, as someone who's on the WMPA board, I think the other system is much more proper and accounts for all the costs involved to people, but perhaps that's not where we're at as a society that's willing to use that methodology. We were pretty far out on the front of that, and frankly, maybe for little towns, too far out in front of that. So that's where we're at, and I think this policy, as presented, is a pretty good policy.
I just have one question. Is there a page 4?
It's basically a signature page, except for has merger, item number 13. If you slow down, will it load?
It's kind of slow.
I mean, I have the signature line and everything, but
It's just 3 pages.
it just says page 3 of 4.
It does?
I have 4 pages.
I
You
have
do?
4 pages.
Does the fourth page just have a
Fourth
signature line?
page, no, my 4th page has
Mine
mergers.
has merger too.
Oh,
Yeah, mine does not look like that. This is mine.
Page looks different too.
Are we all looking at the same document?
I am.
I think,
Two, does yours have a
Mine's
4th
yours.
page? Yeah. Well, the majority.
I honestly think like there's a really big gap here on mine. And so maybe it pushes that into 4 pages, and what Alex's doesn't is he has his open just differently. I think it's all there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It made sense all the
Yeah,
way
I mean,
through.
it's all there. I think it just,
Turn it.
agree with that.
when, it was a matter of the way that it's presented when you open it, I don't think.
I think all the information.
Well, it's
is
your
there,
document,
regardless.
it says PB 20 whatever,
Yeah.
508 rather. It's just, it was ours from like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
We
I
worked
know,
on
and it
this.
looked very familiar to me, so.
What is the difference between the avoided cost and like wholesale? Do we have any idea what that number is?
Well, that's difficult because they're not, you mean our wholesale?
Yes.
Our wholesale is, I think currently this year it's half,
Okay.
roughly half of wholesale.
I'm just trying to remember what the
It's
avoided
like,
cost.
and it might be a little bit more than that, it's like 7.2 to 3.6 cents.
Trying to recall what the avoided cost, actually, that number actually, how it's calculated. Is it based on the supplier?
So a whole room full of people, the terminology is, so what could you buy the next available unit of power for? If you disregard everything you've done up till that point, what could you go to the market and buy one more kilowatt of, megawatt of power, whatever?
That's what I was kind of thinking, but I was a little fuzzy on the detail.
And so it doesn't account for a lot of the, I guess, communal costs of all of that. But that's the number, and the number we will use will be the one supplied by WMPA, which is supplied to WMPA by their supplier, so, by Basin Electric, so. It should be a pretty good number, but, and I oversimplified the terms because it would take an army of people sitting here to calculate what that number is, but they're forced to calculate it every year, so they do. I don't know if it's an army of people. Take an army of people as smart as me to do it. It might only take one guy.
I think overall the policy looks good.
Yeah,
So here's the other thing, is we're midstream, I believe, still with one applicant. I'm in favor of, I mean, this is a more beneficial policy to them than the policy we previously gave them, so I don't think there should be an issue, and so I'm in favor of, if we can get it approved next meeting or something, just changing out what they were gonna do to this more current system.
I think I read in there that we would basically net the difference it's once annually. Is that correct, or?
Yes.
That's my only concern, is that I believe I'd have to go back and find it. But it's to your point. We're netting we would be netting the units of power monthly, right? Not the price, and then doing that at the end of the year, correct?
Correct,
I believe.
kilowatt hours.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
so, because I think that's a controversial topic now too, where people would like it, whether they would like it netted and the cost calculated on a monthly basis, which presents a lot of crazy problems.
Sure. I don't know that we would initially have the capability to do it on a monthly basis.
Right.
We could possibly consider quarterly, but in the past, we have worked with our customers on an annual basis.
So that's the one thing that concerns me about the document though, is it says we're calculating, even if we're not calculating it from a price perspective or a billing perspective, that we're calculating the net monthly per billing cycle, which isn't, we're not paying them monthly, but
Correct.
if there's any payments to ever be made anyway, but
Right.
you're comfortable that we can get the netting on a monthly basis though?
I believe we can, yes, through the meter, yeah. It's,
I don't know how it would matter.
right,
At the end of the year, it's going to, whether you did it once a year or
sure.
monthly, I don't know how it would matter really.
I'm in favor of once a year. I think that
Okay.
doing it monthly would be labor intensive, and I agree with you. It might be something a little more than we can want to try and handle at this juncture.
Sure. You know, at least initially for the first year or so, it would be helpful.
I also think that unless you're gonna put any kind of storage device on your system, batteries, what have you, I think it's pretty tough to arrive at a number at a net positive in any way.
You know, the other positive from the customer perspective is we won't need to put in that second meter. Our meters can handle this type of a policy.
Good.
Yes, our other policy was gonna require 2 separate meters.
Correct, yes.
So is this something everyone would be comfortable putting on our next meeting
Yes.
for approval? If you have any thoughts about it between now and then, I guess get with Kim, otherwise it'll probably look like this, correct?
Yes.
All right, any other discussion about that? Hearing nothing, the next item is visitor comments.
No, we're good.
All right, department reports, Jana.
Do have one from the senior center, mostly just updates on their activities and how many people they've been serving in general. Food pantry, 56 households are currently signed up. Been open 9 days, 38 clients served, 7 intakes. Transit program, 926 miles, guessing traveled, 47 and a half hours, 98 stops, 94 homes delivered, meals. Caregiver program, 0 client intakes, 7 current clients, 1 on a wait list. And activities and supportive services, 96 unduplicated clients, 22 services, and 607 units. And nutrition program, eligible meals, 1,073. So, they seem like they're doing fine. And keeping busy. And that's all I have.
Dave,
I have nothing to report.
Ally,
Nothing new.
Alex? Ready to go the first time? Do you have anything to report?
I have nothing to
Yeah.
report.
Good answer.
Great, that was kind of short window there. All right, Kim?
Well, the town staff and I are excited to have Leanne join the team. We're working on training right now. Leanne has jumped right in and we're starting the website redesign. We signed the agreement and have started the process. We'll have a team assigned to us, a design team, and move forward on that, actually starting this Friday.
Is that, I was gonna ask you about that on there. Was
Yes.
that- Okay.
Yep.
Glad you said something.
And it fit within our budgetary amount allotted for the website redesign, so we're good to go there. We are working with a separate department under Civic Plus for codification. And so I think that we'll have some further discussion on that. I sent them some samples of what our documents look like, and they were going to come back with an exact quote for us on that piece of it. If you're interested in seeing what that looks like, if you search for a code, they use an application called MuniCode. The city of Cheyenne uses that, so if you're looking up an ordinance under the city of Cheyenne, you'll see an example of what MuniCode looks like and how it's searchable and all that.
It's keyword searchable in Unicode.
Yes, everything, yep.
Great. That'd be awesome.
And, yeah. We have also looked at a different payroll processing provider. Currently, we use one application for timekeeping and another one for payroll records. Unless we were to upgrade the payroll one, they're not always jiving correctly. So we are looking at potentially moving over to ADP, which is a very reliable and long-standing payroll provider company out there. So more to follow on that. I've just been working with our engineers on that north property to be able to provide you this award recommendation tonight. And we will be working to get that proposal together for the electric portion of the bid.
Not to interrupt, but
Yeah.
that was one thing I was gonna ask, cause I forgot from our meeting. They were August anticipated start date?
Yes,
or
I believe so. It
October?
might be it might be a little bit longer now than August, but I believe August was the start date. As you know, we do need to review the construction management statements of qualification. And so I hope to have that award recommendation prepared for the next council meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for now.
Okay. Announcements and meetings?
Yes. The next council meeting is scheduled for, was it Wednesday, June 12th at 6 p.m.
Correct.
We had to move the Monday, June 10th meeting to Wednesday, June 12th in order to have a quorum for the third and final reading of the budget and to pass that ordinance.
And we are going to fully notice that.
Yes, we are.
And then the next meeting that month will be the 26th still? That one's-
Correct, yes.
Wham?
Yeah, WHAM is June 5th through the 7th. Pinedale. Really fun drive.
All right. Any other meetings? Anybody you'd like to bring to our attention? All right,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Sure. This agenda.
Will that be on tonight or tomorrow?